On today's episode of Phinside The NFL, are the Miami Dolphins set to lose two key players on offense this week? An offensive lineman and a big weapon. We will talk about that. We will have all the latest on the injury front and so much more. I will give my keys to victory, my matchup to watch, and everything to get you ready for Monday Night Football. Plus, Anthony Weaver addresses the defense and what's been going on recently. So smash that like button, subscribe if you are new, and let's get into this episode powered by BetUS.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, that open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. It's going over the touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We are back here for another one. Hope all of you had a fantastic week as we get ready to head into the weekend where, sure, Saturday is for college football and Sunday will be stress-free, but that stress will be returning on Monday, right at the beginning of the week for us, as the Dolphins will be playing on Monday Night Football this week. So shout out to all of you for coming through. I appreciate each and every one of you. As you do me the favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, really helps go a far way towards getting this content out there and helping me out with my friend Algorithm. All right, so do me that favor, smash that like button, subscribe if you are new. So we're gonna get into everything today. We didn't go live yesterday because right now currently Neil is battling the flu. Yeah, but I gotta tell you, just quickly for my hip hop heads, I've been in a little I don't know, when you get in moods and you listen to certain artists. I've been listening to Pun, and every time I get in those moods and I really just listen to Pun for weeks on end. Man, for all you people that enjoy battle rap or, hip hop battles or whatever, man, I really honestly think, and this is coming from a guy who thinks Nas is the GOAT, I really honestly think there ain't anyone who could have gone bar for bar with Big Pun if they would have gotten into a battle with him. I don't think Eminem could have. Man, I really honestly think Pun could have destroyed any one of your favorite rappers. It's crazy. So I just wanted to get that off my chest and put that out in the universe because I've been thinking about it a lot lately, man. So let's get into some football things here first. Okay, first of all, did you see Thursday Night Football? Shout out to Joe Burrow. That was incredible. And shout out to Jamar Chase, man. Boy, was I ever wrong on that one. I mean, one of the few guys I got very, very wrong. And Jamar Chase is just an absolute monster right now. He had 11 receptions, 264 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Joe Burrow, 34-56, 428 yards, 4 touchdowns, and they lose. And I know people want to use hindsight, but I'm not even using hindsight. Like, I'm a believer in this. Like, I would not have gone for the 2 points. I would have taken the extra point and gone to overtime. Try to win the coin toss and let my offense go down there and score a touchdown. I don't know. I thought that was, I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. I never have really been a fan of that kind of stuff. Why go for it's like when people were talking about McDaniel should have gone for 2, at the end there, which it wouldn't even have mattered because it would have kicked the field goal and beat us anyways. But why? Because then as soon as you lose, you don't even get a chance. Like, look at what taking the extra point did. It got Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills into a 3rd and 9 where he bombed it. Cam Smith had his best play since he's been playing and made the pass breakup. But defender took a penalty, but we wouldn't even have been in that position. We should have been 3 and out and off the field. That's what that taking the extra point led to. Had you not taken the extra point, Buffalo could have just came out and taken it down knees and ran the clock out. So I've never been a huge fan of, I don't know. I've never been a whole huge fan of that, especially in a shootout game. I would have played for the OT. I don't know. And it's just like, McDaniel, instead of people saying go for 2 last week, we missed that and Bills just run it out. We took the extra point, tied the game, and we almost got off the field on a 3 and out if not for a dumb penalty from Poyer. So, and like Nate says, we would have lost from a field goal anyways. Still would have lost by 2 points, right? So, anyways, great game yesterday. Great game. Now, I will say this, and remember, I'm unbiased. I'm a Burrow fan. Everyone knows I'm a Burrow fan. The Ravens got away with some penalties, huh? Couple face masks, a defensive holding on Mike Gesicki. Like, the Ravens got away with some big time penalties on that final drive too. Big time. The penalty on the extra point, the 2-point attempt. Like the face mask on Burrow earlier. Like, they got away with some big time penalties too. All of a sudden the flags went away. I don't get it. So I could see the defensive holding being missed, but missing a face mask on a quarterback when Burrow's helmet got shifted to the side, that's pretty brutal, man. That's pretty freaking brutal, if you ask me. Also, if you guys didn't hear, looks like safety Patrick McMorris, remember he had a really strong preseason. He's been designated to return from injured reserve after that foot injury he had in the preseason. If you look at Miami, we talk about this all offseason and now continuing because of so many players coming back. They can bring 8 players back from IR. They've used 4 slots on Tua, Cam Smith, Craycraft, and McMorris. So, McMorris began practicing yesterday. The Dolphins have a 21-day window to activate McMorris. So, and it looks like Zach Sealer is trending towards playing on Monday. That's the word. I want to talk about this. Listen, I'm not here to preach politics. I'm not here to, get into any of that, but I do want to bring this up. I think it was actually kind of ridiculous what I saw with what went down with Tua's mother. There were people that were out here, wishing death upon Diane Tagovailoa, talking smack about her kid. It was just crazy. Like, the racism being someone said that they hope Tua, dies on his next brutal hit to her, all over political views. All over political views. Listen, I don't care if you support Trump. I don't care if you supported Kamala Harris or Biden or whatever the case may be. I don't care. We're coming here to be Dolphin fans. Attacking people and wishing death upon them and their family. Listen, I love my American friends. The majority of my audience is American. But man, these people take these elections way, way, way too seriously. Okay? Way too seriously. Well, look at a donor like Stephen Ross. Stephen Ross donated to both sides. I believe he donated $35,000 to one side and $25,000 to the other. Okay? Listen, at the end of the day, politics are politics. What's going to happen is going to happen. Policies that need to be moved by the powers that be behind the scenes are going to get put in place. There's no reason to go to war with family members, end friendships, or wish death upon people just because of their political views. Okay, that's like doing the same for their religious views. Whatever people want to believe in, whatever people want to do, that's their right. We've gone to literal world wars on the North American side here, because I'm your neighbor. We've gone to literal wars with the other side of the world so we could have those kind of rights to voice our opinion, to have freedom of choice, etc., etc. Listen, I hate Justin Trudeau. I would never vote for Justin Trudeau. Ever. I think he's ruining Canada. But do you think I would go up there and hate on my sister or cousin or, my brother or, my mother or a friend I've had since high school just because they voted for Justin Trudeau? Do you know how ridiculous that sounds? Because guess what? At the end of the day, we the people. Your whole country was formed off a revolution. There's enough of us where if we wanted to come together and overthrow the governments of North America, we really could if we wanted to. So we're all on the same side here in the end. Okay? So let's get over this stuff. Unbelievable stuff. It's just ridiculous. I was just shocked that I was seeing people wish death upon Tua over this stuff, and it was just unbelievable. It's nuts. People are nuts. So, whatever, man. People need to really, really get a grip at themselves. Seriously. So, anyways. It is what it is. Like, you even had, Maryland, Terps accounts because her other son played there. Talia played there, hating on her. It was crazy. All because of who these people vote for. Jesus Christ, get a grip, people. For the love of God. Out here wishing death on people and attacking people. I had to say something because it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't relate because we're just not, hey, maybe that's one of the reasons why Trudeau got in power, but we're just not, over the top up here about that kind of stuff. So Kevin says evil has crept into these human conscious thinking reason. It's always been there, man. Right? It's always been there. So I just want, all I want is everyone to be happy. That's it. And it starts with a Dolphins win in this community, man. We need to start winning. No. No January 6th pushing over here. What I'm just saying is there's more citizens in North America than there are politicians. Remember that. And citizens are either in the army or relatives of army members are citizens, etc., etc. So, just always remember that your nation was literally started off a revolution. You guys overthrew the British. You guys had enough of their tyranny and overthrew it and started your own country. It happens all over the world. Dolphins fans should hold a voting for the GM position. Listen, I'm telling you. Do not be surprised if they fire Greer and Brandon Shore's the next guy up. That's what's crazy. All right, let's start getting into this because we do have a ton to go over. That's for sure. And Ronnie, it all came from a place of people were wishing death upon to Diane Tagovailoa on Twitter and attacking her over her beliefs in Trump. That's where all that came from. Diane Tagovailoa was getting attacked. It was crazy. So, and Dolphin fans attacking her too. So, and people wishing death upon Tua and stuff. It's crazy. This episode, like I said earlier, it is sponsored by BetUS. Listen, the Rams have won 3 in a row, and the Dolphins are only a 1-point underdog as it stands right now, according to BetUS. Go to betus.com right now. Use promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150. And listen, I would take the Dolphins this weekend. You know why? When you dive into the history of these teams, first of all, they have not played since 2020. And what happened in his rookie year? The Dolphins won. But when you look at the history of these teams, ladies and gentlemen, listen, the Rams are 2-12 all time against the Miami Dolphins. So I'd go over to betus.com. Use promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150. Get your first 3 deposits matched by 150% up to $2,000. And I'd put some money down on the Dolphins because history tells us it's in favor of the Dolphins coming out with a win this weekend. Sometimes you got to play the odds, baby. Just remember, gamble responsibly. Man, that really puts faith into this week, eh? When you look at it and you say, oh, okay, the Dolphins are 12-2 lifetime against the Rams. Think about that for a second. Let that one stir in your pot. So the Rams haven't beat the Dolphins since, check this one out, 2001. And they beat their ass, too. They beat them 42-10. That was the greatest show on turf type of stuff, right? But, yeah, since 2001, we beat them in 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, and 2020. Whether Los Angeles or St. Louis, the Dolphins have been getting it done. I remember, actually, the 14-10 win in 2016. I don't know if you guys do. That was Goff's rookie game. That was Goff's debut as a rookie. Put your hand up if you remember that game. Think about it. 2016 was the debut of Goff when they played. 2020 was the debut of Tua Tagovailoa. And if you remember Goff, I will never forget that game. That game was, Goff was nothing but slants. It was quick slant, quick slant, quick slant, quick slant. That's like all they could throw. Jeff Fisher was the coach at the time. So, yeah, I remember that. I remember that game very vividly. Very, very vividly. That's why they couldn't really do anything, was because they weren't really pushing the ball with Goff. It's crazy. I remember that game very vividly. Goff's debut. Remember it very, very vividly. So, I don't know why. I just do. I just remember the hype about Goff and then him debuting against us. And I remember after that game thinking, man, Jeff Fisher really, between what he did to Vince Young and what he did to Jared Goff, he was not really good with young quarterbacks. Like, McNair was already a stud coming out when he got McNair. With Young and Goff and guys who needed to develop their games a bit, Jeff Fisher was not good. And in case you didn't see, all of you hoping that we'd get some pass rush help in Yannick Ngakoue, he was claimed by the New England Patriots. So, no help coming on the pass rush from Yannick Ngakoue for all of you that were hoping. So, it is what it is. Don't ever let it be what it ain't. Are the Dolphins the best 2-6 team in recent memory? Sean McVay sat down and had this conversation over with the LA Rams media team, and this was the conversation, and let's have it.
All right, the Miami Dolphins, I think probably the best 2-6 team I can think of in recent memory. There's no way their record is reflective of who they are.
Heck no. We'll dive into the preparation once you and I finish up, but just seeing especially the spark that Tua's brought them the last couple weeks. You look at two of the better teams in the NFL, the way they've played over the last few weeks, and the Cardinals and the Bills, and they're wire to wire with them. And so they've got great playmakers. They're really well coached. They've got great players on defense. And so, we've got our work cut out for us, and it'll be nice to be back at home on Monday night, but we got to have a great week, and it's going to be a great challenge.
Supremely motivated team, too. When you look at what's left on their schedule, they still can do it. Buffalo's kind of running away with that division, but they're going to bring their best swing.
No question. And we're going to hopefully give our best, and we'll see what happens.
Everyone keeps talking about what's left on our schedule, and I get it. We have the easiest remaining strength of schedule. I believe the combined winning percentage of everyone on our schedule is like 4.405, so it's under 500. And I even saw Jeremy Fowler of ESPN said that he thinks we're going to claim the final 7th spot, the wild card spot. But everyone needs to relax. We need to start winning. The Rams themselves are coming off winning 3 in a row. Now, I get it. We're only 1-point underdogs, and he's right. The offense has looked good since Tua returned. There's no single solitary doubt about it at all. But at the end of the day, this team's got to start stacking some W's for us to really start believing this. What's crazy is if you start to put in things in reality, okay, just take like a one game at a time approach, or take you look at it, there is 10 games left, right? No, 9 games left, right? So we're 2-6. Yeah, there's 9 games left, right? So you took it in like a third. Take it in the outlook of either game by game or in a third. So in 3 game intervals is what I mean by a third, in case anyone's wondering what the hell I mean by that, okay? If you look at where we're at right now, if you beat the Rams, you have the Raiders and the Patriots up after that, which should be, with the way this offense is clicking, yes, I'll be at the Raiders game. FYI. So the Rams, the Raiders, you got a chance to walk into, I want you to think about this. If you win on Monday night, you got a chance to walk into Thanksgiving to get back to 500. Now, what does that mean? Okay, reason. What is that? Okay, you get back to 500. Let's say you do win the Rams, the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Packers game. Let's say you do win that. All of a sudden, it's a very controllable destiny. You got the Jets twice, the Texans with CJ Stroud in a sophomore slump, the San Francisco 49ers, who are just getting McCaffrey back, but they're banged up at receiver. And you got the Browns, who are an absolute crap show. You get back to 6-6. You win these next 4 games. You win these next 3 games, and have a chance to go 6-6 in Thanksgiving. All of a sudden, things get real interesting. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, if you can win these next 4 games, I only see them losing 1 game, and that's San Francisco. I think they'll beat the Texans. I think they will beat the Jets twice. I think they will beat the Browns. What the Bills are to us, we are to the Jets. So I'm not worried about the Jets, and we are to the Patriots, let's be honest. Tua absolutely owns those franchises. So it's really, I think, if you can, and it all starts, we've got 4 hard games left on the schedule, I really view. The Rams, the Packers, the Texans, and the Niners. That's how I view it. You got 9 games, and about 4 of them could really go either way, I think, if everything goes properly. But this is a stretch where you got to make up ground now that Tua's back. You have to make up ground on the Rams, the Raiders, and the Patriots. You just have to. So, best 2-6 team, we're about to find out. They want to say we're the best 2-6 team, we're better than our record. Well, we got a chance coming up to find out. And it starts this week with the Rams. We should win these. If these next 3 games, you should win. If you play like how you've played offensively the last 2 weeks, you should win these games if the defense can buy themselves a stop in the second half. Seriously. Now, speaking of the defense, Anthony Weaver talked about some interesting things. Number 1, the Dolphins will move forward with Anthony Walker Jr. instead of David Long Jr. as their starting inside linebacker alongside Jordan Brooks, at least for Monday's game at the Rams. Walker replaced Long against Buffalo after Long struggled badly against Arizona. Long didn't play a single defensive snap against the Bills last Sunday, and Dolphins coaches liked how Walker played. He did a good job executing, communicating. Weaver said of Walker, he gives us the best chance to execute from a defensive standpoint. Weaver didn't rule out Long getting some snaps in future weeks. He said Long is a good player, but, quote, Dave will be the first one to admit to you that he left plays out there. Long's regression has been one of the disappointments this season. Last season, PFF rated him the best run defending inside linebacker in the league, but well below average against the pass. This season, PFF ranks Long 81st amongst 81 inside linebackers in overall performance, grading him poorly against the run and the pass. Walker at his locker this week spoke of being thankful for the opportunity to play again. Me and David are super close. I've known him, hung out with him long well before we got to the Dolphins. That's a difficult part of it. You want the best for him as well. During the Bills game, Walker wore the green dot on his helmet, delivering signals to teammates. Jerome Baker wore that dot last season and Long earlier this season. I pride myself on being the quarterback of the defense, the ultimate communicator, keeping guys settled under control, Walker said. You have to be able to defend the run and the pass. More from Weaver. The Dolphins' defensive coordinator said one problem the past 2 weeks is lapses, particularly in communication. The last 2 games, the majority of communication breakdowns have happened in man coverage. Even after allowing 28 points against Arizona and 30 against Buffalo, the Dolphins' defense still ranks middle of the pack in points allowed per game, 23.4, which ranks 17th of 32 teams, and above average in several categories. Among them, Miami is 6th in third down conversion percentage, 7th in total defense, 4th in passing yards permitted on average, 11th in opponent quarterback pass rating, 13th in average rushing yards relinquished per game, and 14th in average yards allowed per carry. The Dolphins have yielded 19 passing plays of 20-plus yards, which is 4th fewest in the league, but their 10 sacks in 8 games are the 2nd lowest in the league. And they only have 6 takeaways. Only 3 teams have fewer, including just 2 fumble recoveries. That's bothersome to Weaver because the Dolphins spend a lot of time in training camp working on chopping the ball out of hands on offensive players. That's, quote, certainly disappointing because it's been a point of emphasis from the moment I stepped foot here, Weaver said. Something we have to continue to work on. We have to continue to have that as a point of focus in practice, especially when we're not wearing pads a whole lot. Hopefully the ball starts to fall our way a little bit. Second-year cornerback Cam Smith, who took most of the snaps created by the absence of Kohu, was victimized for a combined 9 receptions and 10 targets against him for 89 yards per PFF. How did the Dolphins think he played? Cam is a young player. The fact he was targeted wasn't a surprise to us, Weaver said. He did have mistakes. It was from lack of technique and fundamentals. There were difficult passes. He was at a holding penalty and pass interference. On a critical play, he was there and made the play. You're going to go through some young growing pains. You're going to have to continue to work your way through that. And I've said that all year, right? The problem with Cam Smith is we're going through year 1 pains in year 2 because Fangio didn't play him. Kohu has resumed practicing after missing 2 games with a neck injury, and his return will help not only because he has played well this season, but also because he gives the Dolphins more of an ability to fool offenses, as we've explained. The way we're able to move in and out of Jalen being at nickel, putting Cater on the outside and doing that seamlessly with one personnel group, it surprises offense. When Cater's not out there, we don't have the flexibility to do that. Some of the guys are very specific in Cater's spot. Getting Zach Sealer back this week after missing 2 games with a fractured orbital bone is huge, Weaver said. Should be a Pro Bowl and all-pro player, the impact he has had for us. I am a much better coach with him on a pass rush. When safety Jordan Poyer missed time earlier this year, Weaver implored reporters to not sleep on Elijah Campbell. So with Holland still nursing a knee injury, is there any thought to giving Campbell some playing time instead of using Poyer and Marcus May every snap when Holland is out? I have the utmost confidence in Elijah. He has earned the right to go out there and play, Weaver said. We will see how it shakes out. I would not be shocked at all to see Elijah come Monday. Campbell has only played 27 defensive snaps all season. Weaver on Poyer's on sportsmanlike conduct that was costly to Buffalo's game-winning drive. It's unfortunate. You got to lower your target, make sure in the strike zone. Easier said than done doing that at that speed. I hate that it happened. Hate that it happened to him. Last thing you want to do is take away his aggressiveness. Okay, few things. We're finally getting what we wanted, ladies and gentlemen. We're finally getting accountability. David Long has been horrendous all season long, and we saw the reports, we saw the articles, how hyped he was to be the captain of that defense, to be the main communicator, to have the green dot on his helmet, and what has happened? Because he has not been good enough, Walker stepped in and said, I'll take that job, and Weaver said, let's go. So that's number 1. Number 2, show some more accountability. And maybe he's going to. He just said, don't be surprised if we see Elijah Campbell a little bit more on Monday. What does that mean? I don't know. Maybe Marcus May and Jordan Poyer are finally going to be rotated a little bit out more to avoid the mistakes they keep making, whether it's poor tackling or poor penalties from Poyer or just blown assignments. What I do like is Weaver showing a little bit of accountability here. David Long has not been good this season. For a guy who is, I know they were looking to extend this past offseason. Thank God they didn't, number one. Number two, I know he was looking to be paid pretty handsomely. He's dropped off a cliff, constantly hitting the wrong gap. Just looking totally lost out there, getting washed out pretty easily, not making an impact in the run game like he was last year. Just looks slow in terms of reaction time and read and recognition this year. So, okay, good. You're putting some accountability on the guys not performing. Good. Now let's start in the back end. And I know McMorris has got 21 days to return. Hopefully when McMorris, I'll tell you, if McMorris was healthy right now, I wouldn't even be mad at them if they threw Elijah Campbell and McMorris out there this week. Now, McMorris needs some time here. But I would start getting McMorris some reps as soon as he comes back. Holland should be back by the time McMorris is activated and returns to the lineup. So that will allow you to play with McMorris a little bit and feel a little bit more safer if Holland's out there. The problem is right now, if you put McMorris out there, it's either Elijah Campbell, Poyer, or May is out there with them, and So, yeah. But I like accountability is being shown. I'm here for it. And he was right. The big play, the critical play he was talking about that Cam Smith made is the one where Poyer took the penalty on. Cam Smith ran stride for stride with Keon Coleman after giving him a little bit of a cushion off the snap. And he made the play. He made the breakup. We were getting off the field if not for Poyer. And Weaver's 110% right. He's being polite about it in public and not throwing him under the bus. But what did he say about they got to know the target zone? Exactly what I was saying. You got to lead with your shoulder, brother. You got to keep first of all, you can't lead with your head. And you gotta lead with your shoulder and keep it down, man. So, and hopefully we do get Kader Kohu back. Another interesting thing when you look at the offense right now, on the flip side from the defense, big plays are missing from the offense right now. Tua Tagovailoa's return has breathed life into the offense. Miami has scored 27 points and 3 touchdowns in each of its past 2 games. But one big element of the Dolphins offense is still largely missing, the big play. This season, the Dolphins have only 15 passing plays of 20 yards or longer, tied with New England for fewest in the league. Last year, they were 8th in the league with 59 such passing plays. What's more, Miami has only 2 passing plays of 40 yards or more, tied for the 4th fewest in the league. Last year, they had 12, which was 4th most. Tagovailoa's 4-game absence is a primary reason. After all, he completed an 80-yard touchdown to Hill in the opener against Jacksonville. But that's not the only reason for the lack of explosive plays in the air. The Dolphins had a combined 3 passing plays of 20 or more yards against Arizona and Buffalo, but no passing plays of 40 yards or more. It's not like we haven't been trying to stretch the ball downfield, Tagovailoa said this week. That's just what the defense have been showing us, and that there are some things on film that look like, man, I could have hit this person. But sometimes it's not within our progression with what we talked about with how we would read it. So can the Dolphins win and score without... can they score a lot without the big passing play? Frank Smith insisted on Friday that they can. Quarterback coach Darrell Bevell explained it this way. We love to get explosive plays, but we are taking what the defense gives us. We are continuing to search for them, not something we want to force. Both Tyreek and Jalen have done a good job of being selfless players. We've seen really good blocking from them. The drop in explosive plays is also reflected in the run game. This season, the Dolphins have just 3 runs of 20 yards or more, the 5th fewest in the league. Last year, they had 17, which were the 3rd most. They've only had 1 run of 40 yards or more this season, a 47-yard sprint by Achane against the Cardinals. Last year, they had 8 such runs, the most in the league. Here's something else noticeable. Last season, the Dolphins attempted on average 4 throws a game that traveled at least 20 air yards. Tagovailoa completed 33 of those 68 attempts for 11 touchdowns and 7 picks. The 33 completions were fourth most, and the touchdowns tied for the second most on passes of at least 20 air yards. This year, in his 4 games, Tagovailoa has completed 5 of 12 of those 20-plus air yard throws for 22 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. So the number of deep ball attempts hasn't dropped considerably, but the number of chunk plays has plunged. I mean, and it doesn't help when you look at the defense the last 3 games. If you look at the defense against Indianapolis, Arizona, and Buffalo, 44.4% on third downs. They've allowed 100% of fourth downs to be converted against them. They're allowing 211.3 yards per half in those 3 games, 6.3 yards per play, and 8.5 net yard average. So when you got explosive plays dropping off the map a little bit and your defense allowing whatever to go on in the second half, those kind of numbers, no wonder teams are coming back and making it interesting against us. Like, obviously, no wonder. You know? So, it's just not a recipe for success right now. And it needs to change, and it needs to change real quick. And if it don't, it's not going to be good. All right? So let's continue. Let's get into it right here. We have this week's weather report for Monday. This is what it looks like. It's going to be raining, low of 55, high of 57. Well, that means that the roof, well, it can be opened, you know. The roof can be open a little bit, but it's not going to be. So I believe it's like it has like a canopy over it. But yeah, 46 of those panels can be opened, so for ventilation. So I don't think they're going to be opened for ventilation because it ain't going to be real nice. So for all of you going down there for the SoFi takeover, it's, you know, it might be nice in the stadium, but it ain't going to be very nice after the stadium. All right. So that is your weather report. Let's get into the injury report for this week. Let's start with the Rams. So right now they've got a bunch of do not practices that went on Thursday. They haven't given the Friday update so far, so we'll continue to see. But it looks like Steve Avila is going to be coming back, Jonah Jackson. So they're getting offensive linemen back. I know that's been the plan for them. So they're getting some offensive linemen back. Look at that, Neville Gallimore. He did not practice yesterday. Demarcus Robinson, who's been really good for them too, he didn't practice yesterday. Kevin Dotson didn't practice. Cam Curl. So we'll see how it continues to develop for the Rams. But yeah, they practice Friday, Saturday, and then they'll be good to go. And we should know everyone's final status for the Rams by Saturday. Now, for the Miami Dolphins, D. Eskridge did not practice today. Tyreek Hill did not practice today. Now, D. Eskridge was personal, so hopefully he'll be good to go. Tyreek Hill has popped up with a wrist injury. Austin Jackson logged 2 did not practices this week. Taron Armstead was back at practice this week after having rest to start it off. Calais Campbell and Jordan Poyer have been getting rest. Cam Smith, he's got a knee injury. He popped up on the injury report. Zach Sealer, he's logged back-to-back. Looks like everyone who's limited, I would expect them back. It's Tyreek Hill and Austin Jackson. I think D. Eskridge will be playing. It's personal, right? That's why he didn't practice. But Tyreek Hill and Austin Jackson, those are the ones to watch right now. All right? Now, with Austin Jackson, It sounds like Kendall Lamb will fill in if he can't play. Now, second round pick Patrick Paul, he has begun receiving some right tackle snaps in practice after playing only left tackle throughout the offseason program and training camp. But none of those snaps came this week during practice so far. So, another thing too, remember how a couple days ago we signed former 7th round pick Ryan Hayes? Well, remember, he plays on the right side, right? So that could be a telling sign that Austin Jackson won't be playing this week. Just when that offensive line starts to come together, there's a real possibility a key piece might be missing. Now, when you look at Austin Jackson this year, he's still given up some pressures this year. He's given up actually the most pressures on the Miami Dolphins. His 15 are the most pressures on the Miami Dolphins this year so far. He's given up 3 sacks, 3 hits, 9 hurries, but he plays well in space and he does his thing, right? So hopefully he's back. Now Tyreek Hill. He practiced Thursday, missed Friday's on-field session with what the team identified as a wrist injury. McDaniel will address his status tomorrow. He sustained a foot injury in practice a few weeks ago, but he didn't miss a game. Obviously, he was one of the 14 Dolphins on the injury report today. It seems like Austin Jackson, his status is much more in doubt than Tyreek Hill at this point right now. So, but we had a lot of guys who were limited today. But like I said, most of those guys you see that are limited, because 11... we had 11 guys that were limited, right? Expect all of those guys to play Monday. Now, I expect D. Eskridge to be back. He probably just had the day off. Tyreek Hill, he should be back too. I think he'll play no matter what. Javon Holland said he's a game-time decision. That's the quote from his own mouth. Javon Holland said right now, as it stands, he's a game-time decision. He got in a limited session today after not practicing yesterday. All right, so Alec Ingold's been battling a calf injury. I mean, man. Now, Cam Smith, he went down today during practice, but afterward he said he's fine. So Cam Smith, there was a little bit of a scare today at practice with Cam Smith. He ended up going down. But after practice, he told reporters that he's fine, that he's good to go. All right, so thank God, huh? Thank God. Now, how do these teams stack up? Let's take a look at it. The Dolphins, total offense, I mean, they're climbing. I mean, you got to like what you're seeing right now. They're climbing the rankings on offense since Tua came back. And I'm here for it. If we just go back to the Cardinals, let's just go back to the Cardinals. Okay, let's compare offense to where we are and defense to where we are against the Cardinals since Tua came back. So we were the 22nd ranked offense. We're up to 20 right now. Rams are 18th. All right. Passing offense, we're 24th. For the Cardinals, heading into the Cardinals game, we were 27th. We've gone up from 179.5 to about 191 yards averaging per game. That's going to keep rising. The Rams are 9th. So they can throw the football, man. And Stafford does a lot of the things Tua does really well, right? The Dolphins, they're the 9th rushing offense. That's gone up. Heading into the Cardinals game a few weeks ago when Tua returned, they were 11th. So that's a good sign. Rushing offense on the Rams are 26, but they got Kyron Williams. Never count them out. Scoring offense, the Dolphins, they have moved up from 32nd to 31st. They were at 11.7 points per game when Tua came back. There are 14.5 points since he's come back now. When you look at the Rams, they are 21st, averaging about 21.3 points per game. Third down offense, the Dolphins have gone all the way from 27th in the NFL, heading into the Cardinals game to they are now 14th. They've gone up 50% they've gone from bottom of the pack to middle of the pack since Tua returned. They've gone up from 32.1% on third downs to 39.4% since Tua returned. Now the defense. And you look at the Rams, they are 23rd on third down. Both teams, the Dolphins have allowed 20 sacks. The Rams have allowed 17. So they're both right there, middle of the pack. The defense. The Dolphins are the 7th ranked total defense right now. Heading into the Cardinals game a couple weeks ago, they were the 4th ranked. The Rams, they're 24th ranked defense. We should be able to slice and dice as we'll get into it. Passing defense. The Dolphins, they are 4th right now, the passing defense. And you'll be like, that's good, Reason, that's good. They're allowing 183.1 yards per game. Heading into the Cardinals game, only 2 weeks ago, they were number 1 in the NFL, only allowing 154.5 yards per game. They've got up almost 30 yards per game in just 2 weeks. You see, the Rams are 23rd against the pass. Not very good. Rushing defense, the Dolphins have improved there. They were 17th heading into the Cardinals game. They are 13th heading into the Rams game. They've gone down from 130.7 yards per game to about 120. The Rams, not good. They allow 135.1 yards per game, which is 24th in the NFL. Scoring defense. The Dolphins were 14th heading into the Cardinals game, allowing about 21.5 points. Now they're 17th, allowing 23.4 points. They've gone up almost a full 2 points in just 2 games. Rams, 22nd. They're allowing about 24.3 points per game right now. You look at the sacks. The Dolphins, they have 10. 30th in the NFL. It was 30th in the NFL a couple weeks ago. The Rams, they have 21, which is 14th best. You look at third down defense. The Dolphins were number 1 in the NFL just a few weeks ago heading in that Cardinals game. They only allowed a 26.5% conversion rate on third down heading into the Cardinals game. Now, they are 6th in the NFL. They've fallen 5 spots in 2 weeks. They're allowing 33% conversion rate. They went from allowing just about a quarter of third downs being converted against them to now a third. The Rams, they are 14th in the NFL. They allow about 36%. Takeaways, the Dolphins, they only have 6. Not good. 27th in the NFL. Rams have 11, which is 13th. Giveaways, the Dolphins have 9. And so do the Rams. Both teams tied for 8th. So, man, that defense, you can slowly start to see it dropping and evening out a little bit the past 2 weeks with, high power. Everyone was worried that, Anthony Richardson would run around on us and then the actual quarterbacks with legs are the ones who hurt us. So, yeah. But let's continue on into this. Here, let's get into my keys to victory. Let's get into my offensive keys to victory. Tua should be able to slice and dice this week. I mean, we just went over it. You saw for yourself. The Rams right now are allowing about 225.6 yards per game. They're 23rd pass defense in the NFL. Not good. And you look at Tua, since he's returned, he's smart with the football. He's taking what the defense gives him. And from a numbers perspective, he has an 80% completion percentage since he's returned. He has 232.5 yards per game since he's returned. He's got 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, and 111.2 passer rating since he returned. Tua Tagovailoa should be able to slice and dice this defense. Number 2, feed Achane touches like he's starving. Okay, you're not going to give him to Jalen, right? Give him to Achane. Achane right now is your leading receiver and tied for your third. Sorry, he's your leading runner in terms of yards and tied for your third leading receiver. Right now, Devon Achane has and 22 yards from the line of scrimmage. He has 420 rushing yards. He's averaging about 4.5 yards per carry. And then he's got 302 receiving yards. He's averaging about 8.2 yards per reception right now. And if you look at him, he's got 3 receiving touchdowns and he's got 2 rushing touchdowns. He's got the most touchdowns on this team. He's got 5. His 3 receiving touchdowns, you want to hear something crazy? The Dolphins only have 6 receiving touchdowns as a team. 1 by Reek, 1 by Waddle, 1 by Jonnu. Devon Achane right now has half of the Miami Dolphins receiving touchdowns. And he's your 3rd leading receiver. Him and Jonnu are both tied at 302 yards. Right now, if you look at it, guys, right now, from the line of scrimmage, he's averaging per game, he's averaging 52.5 yards per game rushing, and he's averaging receiving, he's averaging 37.8. So he's averaging about 90.3 yards per game from the line of scrimmage right now. And I'll do you even one better than that. If you look at him the last couple weeks, I mean, the last 2 weeks against Arizona, 147 yards from the line of scrimmage. Against Buffalo, again, 121 yards from the line of scrimmage. And he had 2 touchdowns against Buffalo in the trenches right now. Okay? We only gave up 4 pressures against Buffalo. We only gave up 2 pressures against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, right now, Tua Tagovailoa is number 1 in the NFL in evading sacks. Yes, he's doing even better than Lamar Jackson. He's number 1 in the NFL. You got to keep it going. You got to keep this going. And this trench play, you cannot afford for it to drop off by any stretch of the imagination. And Jared Verse is their leading pressure getter. They've only got 29 pressures as a team. Jared Verse has 7 pressures. Kobe Turner has 7 for them. Braden Fiske has 5. So they're not just they're kind of like us. They're having an issue, finishing sacks, and they're getting even less pressure than us. Right? Like, I'm sorry, no, they are getting more pressures than us. Sorry, I apologize. I was looking at a game report. But they are, if you look at right now, the Rams right now, they are getting pressure with like Verse and such right now. Right now, if you look at them, they've got 154 pressures. Jared Verse is 39. Jared Verse is making it happen right now. All of you FSU fans. And when you look at what Jared Verse is doing, he already this season has he's already got 3.5 sacks. Now, when you look at the Miami Dolphins and what we're doing from a pressure standpoint, I mean, we're just around them. Both teams have, they have 129, so they have 154 pressures. We have 119. So they're getting pressures. So we need that offensive line to be dominant. Keep dominating those trenches. So Tua should be able to slice and dice, feed Achane touches like he's starving, and keep dominating the trenches. All right, please. So those are my offensive keys to victory. My defensive keys to victory. Tackling must improve. I mean, Marcus May in open space, missing key plays. Campbell's missing tackles in the backfield. Guys like Williams, Kupp, and Nakua, they will make you pay if you miss tackles. So, You got to clean that up. You got to clean that up. Big time. Big time. Clean that up, please. Missed tackles. Got to be cleaned up. You're going to have to slow down Kyren Williams. Not just, and again, he's another threat. All right. He has 116 yards on 20 receptions and 2 receiving touchdowns. But he also has 161 carries for 602 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. Kyren Williams, he averages about just under 90 yards from the line of scrimmage per game right now. He's averaging about 14 and a half receiving yards per game and 75.3 rushing yards per game. So now he does have a little bit. He's fumbled a few times already this season. You're going to have to slow him down. I'm not so much worried about Blake Corum or Ronnie Rivers, but you're going to have to slow down Kyren Williams. For real. And Stafford, Kupp, and Nakua pose a legitimate problem. If Holland is out, May and Poyer have been a disaster. If they get Kupp and Puka Nakua in matchups outside of Ramsey and Fuller, they could feast. That's what I'm worried about. They could feast on Kohu, Cam Smith, whoever. If they manage to get Kupp and Puka outside of matches with Ramsey and Fuller, they could feast. Stafford's a timing and anticipation thrower, so you have to be prepared to play right off the snap. You need pressure to throw the timing off, etc., etc. So they pose a legitimate problem. That is a really good triple threat. So tackling must improve. Slow down Kyren Williams. And Stafford, Kupp, and Nakua pose a legitimate problem for this defense when you look at it. Now, my matchup to watch. They do things so similar. It's got to be Tua and Stafford. I already just went over Tua's numbers since he's been back. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Tua, since he's been back, 80% completion percentage, 232.5 yards per game, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, 111.2 passer rating since he's been back. He's been phenomenal. You look at Matt Stafford, he's already thrown for 1,969 yards, 9 touchdowns, but he's thrown 6 picks. But you look at, they've won 3 games in a row. When you look at it, the last 3 games against Seattle, Minnesota, and the Raiders, and he's been really good. He threw for 298 against Seattle, 279 against Minnesota. He threw for 2 touchdowns to 1 pick against Seattle. He threw for 4 touchdowns to 1 pick against Minnesota. So, and he had a 73.5 completion percentage against Minnesota. So, and 124.5 passer rating. We know how good Minnesota's been this year. So Stafford versus Tua, man, who's going to make more plays? Really, I should have done defense against defense. Who's going to make more stops? Let's be honest with you. How do I see this game going on Monday night? I think we're actually going to win this game. I think the Dolphins are going to score more than 30 too. I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins 33, the LA Rams 24. I think the Dolphins are going to score more than 30 points. I think they're going to have a little bit of a blow-up game, and I know I'm going against what history tells us in primetime, because when you look at McDaniel and Tua's primetime record, it's not good, right? It's just not good. So, it hasn't been really good. So we'll see what happens, but it is what it is. We were 2-3 in 2023 in prime time, 1-3 in 2022. Tua, he was good in 2022 in prime time. 2023, not so much. not so much. So, and then this year we haven't won in primetime yet. So we'll see what happens. So if you look at the McDaniel era right now, the Dolphins are 3-8 in primetime under Mike McDaniel. So I'm going contrary to what history tells us, but I'm going there. All right. So I'll be back Monday for the live reaction and everything. I'm looking to set up a show this weekend for all of you guys, a special little one with a guest. So I'll see if we get it all hooked up. But I'll keep you guys posted on here. I can't imagine I go another 2 days without having a video, so we'll see what happens. All right. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. Enjoy the weekend, and we will see you on the next one. Until then, you already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. Have a blessed evening, day, afternoon, whenever you watch this.